Hey, everybody, welcome to Pink Shade. It's Thursday. That means we're going to talk about pop culture and Bravo in the news. Today, I've got my friend. It's Melissa of Your Bitch Therapist or Your Bish Therapist if you're trying to be PC. Hey, Melissa.
Hey, Mary Payne, how are you? Thanks so much for having me back.
Does anybody ever call you Mel or Missy?
Funny story. I grew up in the 80s on a block with three different Melissas.
Uh-huh.
And so we all had to have nicknames, but
Uh-huh.
mine was Lissy because that's what my grandparents used to call me, is Lissy. So
Okay.
I was never a Missy or a Mel. I was Lissy, but you can call me anything you want.
Lissy's pretty cute, though.
I loved it. I loved it when they gave it to me. I still love it to this day. I think it's cute and unique, and I don't know. Yeah. I'm not
Different.
a Missy. I don't think I'm a Missy. That's not my vibe.
No, you don't come off across as like a Mel or Melly either.
No, I don't think so.
I'm always interested in people's names, and I'm always interested. Like when I was younger, they called me this, but now it's this. I interviewed a 90-Day Fiance person that was on the show yesterday. Her name was Paulina. She's from Brazil, but on the show they call her Paula. So I was calling her Paula, and she said, really, I think I didn't know enough about the show to tell them I prefer to be called Paulina. But now I'm Paula and Thomas, but really I'm Paulina.
Right.
I was like, well, you're stuck with Paula now because it's on every Chiron. We're 12 episodes in, girl,
Oh my gosh. But I think that's, when I was a therapist in practice, I mean, really, it seems like a very simple question, but I would always ask, not just what's your name, but what do you prefer to be called? Because so many people will have like a legal name that was given to them that either for trauma reasons, or they don't like it. And so, yeah, that's one of those things. I think it's a great question. And I'll tell you a fun fact. So when I was a kid, my sister, who was 4 years younger, she was trying to say Lissy and it came out Ditzy. So to this day, I am 45 years old and my entire family call me Ditz. That is my nickname. My nieces and nephew, they call me Auntie Ditzy. So I'm not ditzy in the traditional sense, but that is actually pretty much what I'm called. So, and seriously, some of my friends from back in the day, they'll just be like, hey, Ditz, what's up?
Which is so funny because you're so not ditzy,
Right, exactly. But I don't know. I just love it. I just love when people call me anything. Call me whatever.
My friend's mom was Diane and they called her Daisy. So I'd be like, hi, Daisy. I always thought that was, I was like, yeah, her mom, Daisy. I was like, I thought her name was Diane, but all right, go with it.
It's funny how those things come about.
Yeah. I'm like, okay. Now somebody with a nickname is Angie K. Now, Angie K is a Real Housewife of Salt Lake City. She's in the news. There was a rumor and some nastiness that she and her husband were separated. And then I guess Page Six perhaps confirmed it. It's been a lot of confirming, but they haven't said anything unless it came out this morning.
Not that I know of. Yes,
Okay.
you're correct. A lot of confirming without the two of them confirming, but it definitely seems like something's going on. Yes. After I think 27 years.
Yeah, it's a long time.
27 years. Yeah, it's a long time.
And of course, when we first met them, there were rumors about him because he's, with her owns these hair salons and they own the franchise and, they're very successful. And because he's a male hairdresser, there were rumors that he was gay. Now, not one person ever came forward. And, there are thirst buckets out there who will take their $1,000 from TMZ and spill it. So not one person ever came forward with any of this. And so obviously it's not true, but that was a storyline. And then they say now the rumors and the nastiness is that he was having like an affair with somebody that worked at one of the salons.
Oh boy. Ugh. Well, here's the thing. He was married. Wasn't he married to one of the Mormon wives, or was that somebody else that I'm thinking
No.
of?
That was the other Angie. Okay, there's another Angie.
Yes, that
had that husband that got super involved in some sort of like spam account. Remember?
Yes. Thank you for clarifying that, because I was like, wait, is this him? No, you're totally right. That was the other Angie.
Yeah.
I
And
hope
he
that
was
it's
married to
not.
one of the Mormon wives. Yes.
Yes, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. I would hope that that's not the case because, here's the thing. I think Angie, she can be like, I call her like a Sour Patch Kid. She can be very sweet, but then she could also like chop your head off when she's upset with you.
Yeah, I'm looking to make sure that she hasn't made a statement, just that we haven't seen it.
That's a smart idea.
Because Lord knows.
It could break while we're recording.
There's nothing.
But I assume this is going to be on the next season of Salt Lake City, I would assume.
Yeah.
So we're going to find out eventually. But of course, we're all like, we want to know now. But it's just very sad. I mean, I think it's like 27 years. Some people don't have that long of relationships, period.
Yeah.
So that's not a failure by any means. But you would just hate for something to end over infidelity. Ugh, I would hate that for Angie.
Okay, I want to back up what I said. Okay, so on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, when we saw Angie Harrington, she had the marriage to the guy who got involved in like the spam account talking about somebody, Jen Shaw probably, if I recall. Okay, Angie Harrington, was married to Brett, who is now married to Demi.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. You solved the mystery. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
So Angie's current husband is who she's married to, the guy that set up the Jen Shaw account. Right. But she was previously married to Brett, who's now married to Demi.
Right. And clearly she picked gentlemen who like a spotlight, I guess, is what I'll say about that. So that's interesting.
Well, I'm very sorry about Angie K. Maybe it'll be he had an infidelity and we're separating, but we're going to work through it on the show kind of situation. I tell you, I met him at BravoCon. I'm wearing my BravoCon t-shirt 2022.
Yeah,
New York.
Beautiful on you.
New York. So then we had 2023 and 2025 in Vegas. So I believe in 2023 is where she was doing one of those things and he was standing to the side and I said, "Oh, you're Angie's husband. Can I get a picture?" And I don't have it right here. I wish I did. He whipped out one of those ring lights that go on your phone. Like it was like, sure. Like I was going to do the picture and he was like, whoop, slapped it on my phone. I was like, okay.
Listen, I appreciate a person who appreciates good lighting.
He was prepared.
That is being prepared. That's wild.
He wasn't going to let me take the picture without the proper lighting. Let me tell you that much. He was perfectly nice. And then we saw them in the airport when we were leaving Vegas. Of course, they were going to Salt Lake. We were going to DC. Ended up riding in the little tram, between terminals with Heather, chatting with her. Very nice. But before that, we were walking through and talking to Angie and her husband. And this was that was just their first season. They had just had their first season.
Right.
And so I was just talking to Heather, like she likes the Grateful Dead, and so do I. And I said we were the people that were giving out this is all Keisha does is make fun of me because I can look around my desk and find anything. We had poker chips. We had poker chips with our logo and a QR code that people could subscribe and everything on the QR code. So I said, we were the ones that gave you the poker chips. He pulled it out of his pocket. And he goes, "Yeah, I didn't want to throw this away for all the stuff that we got because it's like so heavy and so nice." I was like, marketing works. Yes.
Mary Payne, you not only can pull anything from your desk at any moment of time, but
I can't believe I can't find a poker chip right now.
I know. Continue. I'm shocked also. I'm shocked. But you also do have like the best marketing stuff. I mean, the way that your brain works with that, I'm like, I wish I had 1/10 of that. Because it's, the way your brain works. I just love it. And you have interesting, cool marketing things.
Well, follow me on Instagram because I'm out here hoarding myself for every follower I could get. And I'm still not even probably half of what you've got. you know? Y'all, I don't know about you, but it's been so hot here. And 95 degrees outside feels like 120 degrees inside your pants. Am I right? You can summer-proof your intimate areas with the Tushy Bidet, the instant bathroom upgrade that keeps you healthy and fresh where sweat hits the hardest. Y'all, I am so excited to talk to you about the Tushy Bidet. You don't even know. As listeners to this show know, we talk about bidets on our reality shows a lot. So many of our 90-day fiancés come over to the US and they're stunned that every home does not have a bidet and all the Americans end up getting one and loving it. I would be willing to bet that most of them are getting a Tushy bidet. I just got one. It was so easy to install. Seriously, it took me 10 minutes and I'm not a handy person. Remember how easy it was for Rashid to install his new bidet at Mallory's house? He was so excited about his clean butthole and he wanted her to have a clean butthole too. Now, that's love. Now, Rashid's new bidet looked great in her bathroom, and my new bidet looks great in my bathroom. I am telling you, if you haven't tried a bidet, get on board or get on the bidet. It really does make you feel so clean. And like Jihoon from 90 Day Fiancé, your whole family can have a clean anal. Seriously, though, 99% of people who wash with Tushy warm water bidets feel cleaner and fresher after going to the bathroom. Tushy e-bidets have a heated seat, adjustable water temperature, and a powerful yet gentle dryer. Tushy bidets easily attach to your existing toilet without the need for additional plumbing. And the e-bidets only require an outlet. And people who have made the switch to Tushy use up to 80% less toilet paper. No more clogged toilets. And that is a big problem in my house, not naming names. But there's no more wasting money on something that does an inferior job of cleaning your Tushy. Every Hello Tushy bidet comes with a 30-day hassle-free return and a 12-month warranty. You literally have nothing to lose. So stay fresh and healthy where the AC can't reach. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off their first bidet order when you use code PINKSHADE at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at Hello Tushy, Tushy, HelloTushy.com with the promo code Pink Shade for 10% off. And let me know how you like it.
Let me tell you, Mary Payne, it's not all, it's the more my account grows, the more yelling into the void there is. And I'm telling you, the other day, I'm gonna be honest, I posted something about Riley Burris and I got so trolled that I was like, I might just delete my account. No, okay. I didn't, but
let's switch to that because I don't fuck with the Gen X. I don't fuck within the city. It's a young person's game and I'm too old for it. But I did see a lot, but I follow all the news, right? So I did see that a lot of people were saying on the last episode that Riley had really bad behavior, seemed drunk, and was being mean to people. So what happened and what was your diagnosis of the situation that you got trolled for?
Okay, I'll tell you what happened and what I got trolled for. Okay. So Riley, and by the way, I'm not young. I'm 45. So it's never too late, by the way. But
you're way younger than me.
Yeah. Oh boy. Well, I feel elderly, but okay, you're right. So then Riley, and there's this girl named Georgia. Riley was very intoxicated. She really was very intoxicated and she was being belligerent. I'm gonna be honest. Her behavior was atrocious. She was yelling at Georgia. She was being nasty to her. She picked up a glass, like a glass, and went like this to chuck it at her. And someone,
that's not good.
No,
it's not Housewives.
Oh my gosh, it was so bad. And you know what's interesting? In the scene, so there's Gia Giudice, and then Ariana Bierman, and they both kind of whispered in her ear, and they're like, "This is going to be a problem for you, so we need to step away." Like they were trying to produce, and it was not working because Riley was just like, it seemed like she was kind of blacked out of control. But then she made this nasty comment about how like Georgia couldn't even afford a Birkin, and it was just like, it was gross. It was bad. It was really icky. I'm going to say that. Okay. But what I got,
by the way, that's not really a slam because like less than 1% of the 1% of people in the world can afford a Birkin. And of that 1% of the 1%, a lot of people don't even want one.
Yeah, I hear from the people who have one that they're heavy and they're hard to carry and they're very inconvenient. But
it's just the idea
status symbol.
It's a status symbol. But to say that to like a 20-something-year-old in a dive bar in New York seems odd.
Well, it was odd, and it was a very entitled kind of
Yes.
bratty moment where it was like, well, you can't afford a Birkin either. Your mom can, but like, I don't think you can yet, honey bunny. You know,
That's
like,
a
let's
great
take a
point.
step
Yeah.
back here.
Yeah.
But okay, so this was my take, and I still stand by it, is that at this time, Candy and Todd were in the middle of a contentious divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Something happened. They made the announcement. The family was disintegrating. And my take is that, number one, Riley's 23 years old. Our prefrontal cortexes are not fully formed until research shows 25, but some research shows with people who are neurodivergent, that number could be closer to 32. And why does
no.
that? I know.
Okay.
Why? And why that matters.
Thinking of my kids in my house, I'm like, oh shit.
Oh, Mary Payne, R.I.P. You have a lot more parenting. Yeah, there's a lot more ahead of you. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry to tell you that.
Okay.
But the prefrontal cortexes control things like impulses, emotion regulation, decision making, right? And so my point was, let's have some empathy and say, who of us has not been an asshole, either a drunken asshole or just a 20-year-old young immature asshole, right?
Yeah, right.
Did she fuck up? For sure. Did she make mistakes? Absolutely. Was it okay? No, it wasn't. But my point was, let's have some empathy and understanding for the fact that she's still a young adult, and developmentally speaking, young adults are different from adults. And sometimes adults miss that nuance. Well, guess what? All the adults missed the nuance of my post, and then they roasted me in the comments. It's like, sometimes having empathy and understanding, people don't want that. People want to say, well, she's a brat. That's what people kept saying. And it's like, would you like to be characterized by your worst moment in your 20s? Would you?
Oh my
I refuse to slap this person with like a painted brush if she's a brat because she made a mistake. Now, if she's pulling a Danny Bucco and continues this over and over and over again, well, that's a different story. So that was essentially my take. And people were real mad.
I think that's a great take. And I think, you know, I see a lot of funny posts about, like, you know, when I'll speak for myself. When I was in my late teens and 20s, I was literally at a keg party in a field, and my parents didn't know where I was and didn't care. And as long as I just came home, they would check and make sure I was there. You know, now we track everything, and everything's different, and the world is so different. So no, I would definitely not want to be defined by one of my many, many terrible moments that I had as a 23-year-old, you know, and by then graduated from college and had a job, still acted like an asshole, I'm sure.
Oh, I feel like most of us, our 20s, were just like feral. It's like one big feral mental breakdown, your 20s to your 30s. And I just think understanding development, but also just being an empathetic person, I just don't, what I get frustrated about Bravo fans, and especially women, they're so judgmental and harsh, but it's like their own stuff, right? So if someone's doing that to Riley, chances are they're probably going to be really judgmental to self and others, period. So it's like, I understand where it comes from, but you know, also what I appreciated about the scene is that Candy, they showed Riley FaceTiming with Candy, and Candy was not having it. Candy asked her what was going on. She said, Riley gave this BS answer, and Candy was like, I don't want to hear any politically correct bullshit. You tell me what's going on right now, and we're going to talk about this. And so again, I think it's like, the people in her life that are important to her are holding her accountable. It's not the Bravo audience's job to hold Riley accountable. And I'm not like, I joke, people want me to be like Dr. Phil, where I'm like, you know, you youngin', you suck. You really need to go to treat, you know, just like such a miserable asshole. It's like, that's not who I am. I'm never going to rage on a child who's like, can we give her a break?
I love it. People want you to be like Dr. Phil. It's hilarious.
Yeah, be like, you know, he was so harsh and mean sometimes to like his teenage guests. It's like, that's not me. That's not me. Sorry.
Oh God, that's funny. Oh, that's funny. Well, okay. So another Bravo person in the news is Melania Giudice, not Trump. And Melania Giudice I had Ace standing on last week, and he did the funniest impression where he like rolled his chair halfway out of the frame and was like, and he goes, "That's what she was doing." He goes, "Why was she so far away from the camera, sitting behind her lawyer, like, meh, like a little troll?" And she's just like, "Okay." So, she hit someone in the house with the initials LR. Now, you and I were talking before, and you were saying LR could also be Louis's son, LR Louis Jr. Now, let's clarify. He has two sons. Louis Jr. is the older one, who I don't think lives there. I do think the younger one, who has autism, lives there a lot of the time. So she could have gotten mad and hit her stepbrother, because she and Louis are out there posting every day together, just holding hands, dancing through the fields. They're best friends.
Wait, who's posting that?
Melania and Louis are constantly now posting things together. Like, she's doing TikToks, like where she's talking and he's behind her, like eating a sandwich. Like, they are just besties. She posted
since
a long
the arrest.
Yes, she posted after the arrest. She posted this like amazing Father's Day thing to him, and yeah.
Okay, so my interpretation of that is that's damage control. And
Me too.
Because Teresa also posted something with Melania, and I just think, I think it's damage control. And I think that's a shame, because the one thing that Melania posted was like, it said, I read it on my podcast last week, but it said something like, a lot of things have happened to me and you all have no idea. And I think that that's really important to remember, is that we've watched these people on TV, but we don't really know their life. We don't know. We've seen some of her trauma, like when her mom had to go to jail and then her dad went to jail and then never came back. I mean, we've watched enough trauma for her to have issues. And then it's like you add in the components of what we haven't seen. I just have a lot of empathy for all these children of these Bravo folks. It's like they didn't necessarily ask to be put on TV, and it's a tough situation. So,
and she's only 20. So speaking of
prefrontal cortexes, I mean, also I could tell that when Melania, like in the early days when Joe and Teresa were going to jail, I could tell that Melania was just probably going to be the most impacted, because she was so close to Joe.
Yeah.
She was old enough, like the younger two, Adriana and Gabriella, when you're young, it just like protects you naturally from some of that stuff because you just don't understand it. But I think Melania really had the toughest time. Gia had to be like the eldest daughter and keep all of it together, which, by the way, what's so fascinating about Next Gen and what I love is Gia is a completely different person than her mom. And she even said on Next Gen, she goes, I've seen my mom flip tables. My family can be very aggressive. She goes, but in my friendships, I don't want that. And so in her friendships, because of her trauma, she's the mother hen. She's the mother hen that says, Riley, you're going to look bad. Don't do this. Have some water. So she almost flipped the script because of her family scenario. So I do think it's interesting to see how each one of her beautiful daughters manages each of these situations, because all kids are going to handle it differently. And I just think Melania is having a tough time.
There was also some weird post that Louis did where he's, just always self-filming, just always with the camera just right on him with his red face. And he's like, you know what? I just got home from work. You know why I do it? Because of this. And he swings around, and behind him, sitting at the kitchen island, is Teresa, Gia, and her fiance.
Mm-hmm.
And it literally looks like a hostage video. It looks like, and then because they all go, hi, can we, like, how weird to be in the kitchen and be like, I'm having a conversation with my wife, her daughter, and the fiance, and all of a sudden I think I'm just going to whip the phone out and show everybody this is what I do it for. Like, what?
And also, if you're doing it for your family, you probably don't need to tell the world that you're doing it for your family if that's really why you're doing it. To call that out, kind of like that's the opposite. I don't record myself pretty much doing anything because it doesn't feel authentic to me other than podcasting. I think Louis is just like he and Brian from Pontarelli from Real Housewives of Rhode Island. They are cut from a very similar cloth. I feel.
Brian Rula's husband.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, all
Brian
right.
Pontarelli. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to take a
Mm-hmm.
minute on that.
Yeah.
Something else came out about him recently that he had a marriage before and he did a similar thing, or he
Mm-hmm.
had a mistress before, or what was that about? Can you remember?
Okay, yeah. So the question was Rula the mistress? So
Right, right,
he
right, right.
was married, and this came out at the reunion. Brian was married before. He the allegation was that he met Rula, left his wife, but then the divorce didn't take place until like 8 years later. So
Right,
then they were calling into question, were the marriage between he and Rula, is it legal?
right.
Because of the timing of that. And I
The
just
fact that
think that
she would not say the date of her wedding.
she wouldn't, which I find really like, for all the things to not be willing to come out with, that seems really like a huge red flag to me. You can't just say the date that you got married. I mean, that should be ingrained in your brain.
And
But
Rula's
she
like,
didn't want
she's like,
to.
she had court documents. She had court documents. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yes, exactly.
And
So,
that's why I like Joellen, because she was reading court documents because she's like, I've got nothing but time. But then Joellen was my favorite. But then
oh,
we got all sorts of like bad stuff about really gross tweets and things that she was liking, against immigrants, against gay people,
trans,
against
yeah,
trans
trans,
people.
yes.
Um, really vile stuff. She's like
I
liking
posted
and
it.
posting. Yeah.
Oh, so because okay, this is the story on this. I saw those screenshots, and I have someone personally that went to the account that she was like liking, which it's Donald Trump Jr., by the way. That's what we're talking about here. So,
Okay.
so Joellen was liking a ton of transphobic, homophobic, really just ugly things. Rula was as well. And I posted it actually to my Instagram. If you want to see, I took screenshots of it and I posted it because to me it was so egregious that it's like, I stood up for Joellen in terms of like her trauma. And I
Mm-hmm.
always like to give people the benefit of the doubt, but hate doesn't deserve empathy.
Mm.
And the fact that I posted about this, a lot of other content creators posted about it. She went into some content creators' DMs. Guess whose DMs she didn't hit? That's right, mine, because I'm not able to be manipulated. So,
What did she say to these content creators? Because I haven't seen any kind of public apology or statement from her saying, I looked back on this and she can't even do the Gretchen Rossi of like, I have a social media manager I didn't know.
right,
She could just go and
right.
say, I liked all these things. I was misinformed and I've educated myself and I'm sorry. That's all she can say. But
That's right.
she hasn't done that to my knowledge.
No, she definitely has not done that, because if she did it, I would have known about it. And one of the accounts that I could tell you that she did this to, it's an account called Mr. Housewives.
Okay.
Both Joellen and Rosie got into his, well, I don't know who runs the account, but got into those DMs and then basically encouraged that person to take those posts down, which they did.
Oh, they did.
So
Okay.
so what I'm saying is, I think that there's no apology, there's no acknowledgement. They just want to clean this up and make sure it goes away. But I've
Mm-hmm.
heard that it is going to be a storyline on season 2 of Real Housewives of Rhode Island.
Okay, good.
And it will be addressed in some way, shape, or form. Because for me, I am done with Joellen. If that's really where she stands, I can have empathy for anyone in terms of like these things that she was liking were from 2023. So it's 2026. That's not that long ago, but it's not yesterday either. So if you were to acknowledge it and say, I've made mistakes, I've learned, I've grown, I can hold space for anything like that. But to just ignore it and try to encourage people to delete their posts, that smells of guilt to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's guilt. She did it, but it's just a matter of, you would think that right away there would be some sort of, I'm just, really regret that I made these things. But maybe because they're currently filming, they were like, don't say anything, say it on camera, save it for the trailers to make people watch it,
That's also very true. The power of editing and filming a show, you just never know. But I'm going to need her to say some stuff because it was very egregious. Her
It seems
and her
like,
lover. I was like, ugh.
well, when somebody could come to her and say, I have a gay brother, or I have a, a transgender person in my life. Somebody could come to her and explain from their point of view why this would be hurtful, to maybe have a teaching moment. That's what you hope for. But we don't always get teachable moments on our housewives. So
That's right.
I really
That's
am not
right.
sure what I need to shut up, because none of that's going to happen. Okay.
No,
Now,
but I like where you're going. I like where
yeah.
you're going, because there should be, but you're right, there won't be. So good call. Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of times, if people that are, anti-gay, gay rights, gay marriage, all these things, maybe they have really never met a person in their life that is a gay person. Because if you have one friend, one coworker that that is a gay person, and you go, okay, well, that doesn't change my opinion of them. They're still my work friend. They're still my buddy. They're still my friend's brother, sister. Then you do start to shift your opinion, because you're like, wow, okay, that is a person I've known my whole life who's just like me. So why shouldn't they have the same rights as me? I think
That's
that
right.
when you have somebody in your life, your opinion can shift, and you can see.
You can have more empathy and understanding, I suppose, when it's closer to you. But yeah, it's like, I mean, homophobia is like, it can be a real phobia, and so for some people they're taught, like, hate and bigotry is taught, it's passed down through generations. You're not born not liking people who have more melanin in their skin, or who have a different orientation. And so I think that's the pervasive issue, is that the people who are teaching us things. But like, for me, for example, growing up, I grew up with a very hateful father, and I remember being little and being like, that ain't right. But like, not everybody has that ability. I remember being like a little kid, be like, this man ain't right. But
oh my God.
I think that I just was like born this way. I just like came out of the womb with like 2 middle fingers. So I think that for some people it's just innately understood, and for others they have to have more of a personal experience. I personally don't understand what upsets people and makes them care so much. It doesn't impact them at all. But I could go on about that for millennium. So,
well, I can remember one time my husband saying to me, when we were first dating, something that, this was in 99 or 2000s, a long time ago. And something was said about gay marriage or something. And he goes, I don't understand why anybody would care about gay marriage. If you're not gay, why do you care who gets married? Like, nobody's going to force you to marry a gay person. He's like, so I don't understand why other people have opinions about gay marriage. Don't get gay married. Like, it doesn't affect you. Like, and I remember thinking like, all right, this is my man. This is a man with some forward thinking, like, I was like, it's like, that's a great point. Yeah.
Love us a smart, tolerant man. That's right.
He's like, I just don't even understand why anybody would care about why other people, who they marry,
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to another topic that is in our news, which is Gina Keogh has come out. She had some tongue cancer that then spread to the lymph nodes, and I'm not sure what the cancer diagnosis is now, but she has a cancer diagnosis. Now, she, of course, is one of our original OC housewives, and, well beloved, and kind of has popped in through the decades or whatever. People are a little upset that she started a GoFundMe, because she has a wealthy family and her children are doing just fine. So people are sort of upset that somebody who has the means is out there asking for money for help. I kind of didn't think about it. I'm not going to donate to it. So it didn't occur to me that people would be upset about it. But I have seen people are like, it's kind of gross that they're out here going on vacations to Tahiti and now asking for money for her healthcare bills. Now, we do know that healthcare, you more than anybody know that healthcare in this country is extremely expensive, and she's doing cancer treatments that perhaps whatever insurance she has is not going to cover. But people are like, well, then her kids should be helping her. Why are they putting out a GoFundMe? And I'm like, well, also, like, why do you care? Just like donate to it or don't, you know?
Well, right.
Yeah.
Just like what we said, it's like, if you don't want to donate, that's fine. But one thing I can explain. So you are aware of this, but I'm a 2-time cancer survivor. So when I was 17, I had ovarian cancer that I wasn't supposed to survive, chemotherapy, multiple surgeries, blah, 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 the whole thing. Now I'm living with a chronic cancer called chronic lymphocytic leukemia. And I'm actually, I was just telling you before that I have to start another infusion. So I'm on immunotherapy, and I'm going to be on another immunotherapy. And so the reason why I share all this is that I call myself a professional patient. And what that means is I understand the healthcare system in ways that are horrifying but realistic. And what people don't want to understand or believe is that being a cancer patient in this country can bankrupt you. It shouldn't.
Yeah.
There's no reason why it should have to, but it does, because especially for types of cancers, like I don't know specifically. What I can tell you is with a tongue cancer, if it's in the lymph nodes, that means that it's moved to other places in the body.
Right.
That means it's definitely past stage 1. It's more advanced. And when you have a cancer that's not your norm, or a little bit tougher to treat, a little bit more aggressive, you have to act quickly, and you have to do things that are dramatic. And sometimes that comes with a very hefty price tag. People can work their whole lives, have millions of dollars, work, do the right thing, and still become bankrupted by medical bills and treatment. So I guess on the one hand, I just want to advocate for folks who don't understand that even you could be rich, you could be a multimillionaire, and you get one diagnosis that, let's say you need something, your insurance won't cover it. Well, do you die, or do you go into debt to pay for what you need? And these are really seriously hard decisions that people are having to make. So I just think people don't understand, but also like you said, if you don't want to donate, you think it's silly, that's fine, but let her live and do her thing, I think. Because I get it. I get it.
Yeah. I just thought it was interesting that it was such a hot topic, because it just didn't, when it came across, I was like, oh, wow, like I'm sorry for her. Now, I will tell you something interesting. In my 90-day world, there's a couple, Kenny and Armando, and they've been married like 7 years. And so Armando years ago overstayed a visa in the States. So he's never been able to come to the United States since they've been married. So they live in Mexico. They live like right over the border, like right in like the Baja, Mexico, California border area. And Armando runs like a doggy grooming daycare company. And, Kenny works there with him. And Armando has a daughter from his first marriage, Hannah. Well, like I said, they've been together at least 10 years at this point, because they've been married like 7. And they've been on 30 shows, and they are just a staple in the
I'm familiar.
World.
Yeah, that's how I'm familiar with them, because if they're like a staple in that world. I've definitely watched some. I think they're wonderful people. They're wonderful humans. Yeah.
And they had to, they were getting gay married in Mexico, and they had to like go to another jurisdiction to even get it approved. And we followed all that. It was very, it's very interesting story, and how they found each other on like a Facebook group for gay dads. And, it's just, and there is a big age difference there. Kenny's in his 60s, and Armando is in his 30s, but they've been together all this time. So Armando, we've been following his journey, trying to get a visa, a spousal visa, to go over to the States, because Kenny, Kenny's got grandchildren now, wants to be in the States more, just to be able to freely go back and forth. And he's denied again. And they've said something about the age difference. Of course, they're like, we've been on TV together for 10 years. We've been married for 7. Like, it's not, So his daughter, Hannah, got very sick. And he said he was looking, she called him and said, I don't feel well. And he went over to where she was. They were in Mexico, and he see how whole side of her face is drooping. She's like 14 years old.
Oh my God.
And her speech was slurred. And so they immediately called an ambulance, and the hospital there where they were immediately airlifted her to Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh my God.
So his mother, her grandmother, was able to go with her because she has a passport or whatever, it could go. But because Armando, the dad, the biological dad, Kenny's also the dad, has been denied several times now. So he couldn't go. Meanwhile, Kenny was in Florida or somewhere visiting his family. He was already in the state, so he was able to get to Hannah. So Hannah had her mom, Hannah had her grandmom and Kenny, her other dad, there. But Armando could not get there. And she doesn't have a mom. The mom died. The mother died.
So my heart.
So they literally got, people were calling and they were trying to get like an emergency visa for him to be able to go over. And it finally worked. Mark Kelly, who is either from Arizona, maybe Congressman. Anyway, Mark Kelly came through and another congresswoman came through, got him this visa. But then they just posted all the update about it, about she's going to have to stay in Phoenix for a while because they're trying to figure out why she had a brain bleed.
She had a brain bleed?
And they're trying to figure out why. Like, how did it happen?
God.
So she has to stay in Phoenix, but Armando's visa runs out on Sunday. So he'll have to leave her again.
Right. But also what you're talking about, this is what people don't realize about medical issues. When you have a loved one in the hospital and they're in there for months, you have to pay for housing, for yourself, for food, to take care of yourself and this other person while they're in the situation. There's so much that insurance will not cover.
Right.
But those are just like added expenses. But my God, that is so sad.
So they set up a GoFundMe. And of course, immediately, they didn't set it up. Their friends set it up for them. And immediately it was just through the roof with donations because they are so like beloved and on TV and kind of currently always around. They're on a current season of 90 Day Diaries right now, going through this visa process with Armando. And they put out like a 3-part video where they're both just like sobbing, like thanking the people that gave them money because now they're going to be trying to fight this visa thing. So Armando doesn't have to go back to let him stay medically with his daughter. And then also this astronomical medical bills they're going to be paying.
Oh, when it's brain stuff. And this is what people do not understand. Here's my message to people listening. If people are more mad that people have to do GoFundMes than you are at the government for requiring that healthcare is so inaccessible, it's so expensive to regular Joes, that's what we should be mad at. We should be mad at the GoFundMes. We should be mad that this is the system that we're living in, because that's disgusting.
Yeah, because people are like, oh, well, they're on TV. I'm like, they're not the leads on The Walking Dead. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not on Game of Thrones. They are on my joke always is like, everybody wants that sweet, sweet Matt Sharp money because Matt Sharp but they make nothing. And even though they've been on all these years, they're making a few $1,000s per season. I mean, Armando fully has a business and Kenny helps him. And, most of the 90 Day people have regular full-time jobs. They're not like housewives where like my job is to be a reality TV star. So in that case, I posted it and I'm like, if you can donate, if you can't, don't feel bad about it. So it's very interesting the dichotomy between how people feel about donating to Gina Keogh versus these two guys, because it's perceived that she has so much money and it's perceived that they probably don't have the money to pay for it,
That's right. And so to your point, it's all about perception. And the general public, because of parasocial relationships, we humans, we tend to think that we know way more about people than we do. People could be on The Walking Dead. They could be making a ton of money. We don't know how much they have, what they do with it, how they manage it. And then you add to that the fact that healthcare is just, it's a broken, disgusting system. I mean, I could easily, like, what scares me the most is I know that at any point, if my stuff gets out of control and to try to save my life, I mean, I could easily bankrupt my own family, and we've done everything right,
Yes,
and so
absolutely.
But I think it's interesting is that our perception is reality, because if you don't have a problem with like certain people doing it, but then you do have a problem with certain people doing it, it's like we should just be more mad that this is the system. But
yeah, that's exactly. It's very interesting. And sort of the whole, like, people talking about how hot the guy, Luigi Mangione, like, well, he's so hot. I'm like, he still killed somebody.
Yeah.
I can't say like, okay, the healthcare system is great, but let's don't go around murdering people. I don't really think that's the
No, no,
answer.
no, no, no. Let me
Yeah.
be clear. That's not the answer. I like, and I get it because the person from United Healthcare, which by the way, they still suck. It's like their CEOs want to have beach houses, and then people are getting denied anti-nausea medication for chemotherapy. That's what we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about here. We're talking about people being denied that, but the system needs to change, right? We need to advocate for the system to be changed. Murder isn't going to do anything other than sensationalize it and then have nothing change, which is
Right.
exactly what's happened.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I get the anger and I get the frustration, but we are responsible for our behaviors and our actions. And I understand it. There have been times where I've been unhinged and walked out of a doctor's appointment yelling like a maniac. Yeah, I've been unhinged, but you gotta manage your shit.
Oh my God. I tell you, speaking of people that may be unhinged, I mean, we're so many people that are unhinged, but Taylor Frankie Paul, from a therapist standpoint, if you were her therapist, what would you tell her?
Oh boy.
Should she, her job is to be a social media person. That's her job. So that was her job before even Mormon Wives. That was how she started her career. So that's what she knows.
Mhm.
And she feels the need to dispute every single tiny little thing, whether it's in court or perceived or this and that and the other. And a lot of people are like, she should just completely go away for like 6 months, work on herself. And I'm like, but her job is to be on social media,
Mhm.
right? So what's your thought on that as a therapist?
Boy, I actually just talked about this because I had Caitlin Marshall on my podcast that came out yesterday. If you want to listen to that, it's up now at Your Bish Therapist podcast. We talked about this because Caitlin is in that TikTok world. She's connected to like the Mormon Wives crew and things like that. And so I believe that Taylor and Dakota were both abusive to each other.
Yeah.
And I believe that they both participated in a really toxic, unhealthy relationship
Yeah.
that for me gives me flavors of like a love addiction.
Mm,
When you see people who go into recovery, so Dakota said that he's sober. If you go into recovery and you don't do the work, it's going to come out sideways. And so I think that their drug of choice is each other.
mm,
And I think that for like Taylor, she will repeat relational patterns that she's not willing to address. So I guess as if I were her therapist, I would ask her to kind of like, what do you think your role in all of this is? Right.
mhm,
Because I understand that sometimes trauma happens to us. We can't change it. We can't help it. But trauma may not be our responsibility. Like we didn't cause it, but it's our responsibility to fix, if that makes sense. Right.
mhm,
Especially for the next generation of our family and things like that. So for Taylor, my concern with her, she's always pointing the finger at other people. So Taylor seems to have these chronic relational issues, which essentially means that like it's not that she just happens upon these people who are treating her poorly. She's choosing people. And I think that's tough for trauma survivors, including myself, right? I have picked people to be in my life based on what I thought and felt about myself. And I ended up picking people who were emotionally neglectful. And it
mm,
wasn't like I'm a bad person making those decisions. It was like when we let trauma lead us, sometimes we pick people who mirror our wounds in ways that are just really not good. And so I think that for her, it would serve her to say, okay, let's put down the finger pointing and the blaming and the this and the that. And let's look at for you. What do you need to do different to get yourself healthier? And like number one, and then to be with someone healthier, number two. People have this big belief that like you can't, like you have to deal with your own shit before you can date someone. And if that was the case, all of us would be single forever. Because
right.
like when have you like no one's ever fully healed. It's not like a achievement you ring the bell and you're done. So
Yeah.
you
Right,
know,
right, right.
I think it's one of those things. It's like she does need to do better, make better decisions for herself and for her family. And she won't be able to do that if she continues to just look at all the ways she's been aggrieved and not her own piece, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's so rough because there's, kids there, and you just like, God, you just want her to be better. And I don't know why. I don't know what it is about her that that makes us just like, and then, and then she's got all the other mom talk people go on and talk shit about her, and then she talks shit about them. And then it's like, yes, at one point they really were friends, and now you've got the fame. And I don't know, like, if she put out a GoFundMe, would people donate,
Oh my God. That's a great question. I'm sure that they would, because that's the thing. She's now, what I worry about with her fans is like the toxic fandom that will just be an echo chamber of, you're right, Taylor, you're the queen.
Yeah.
You can do no wrong. That doesn't serve us. That doesn't serve us at all. Taylor does need to do better for her and her kids. And I hope that she's able to. And now in terms of like, going offline, I just don't know. I think that could be healthy for her, because at the same hand, could she have some sort of like internet use issue? So there in the DSM, there are now kind of diagnoses around technology, because technology, internet, social media, that can be as addictive as literally a drug as anything else.
Oh yeah.
As we know, I mean, obviously, like, I can't imagine having her number of followers, but it's like when you have millions of people in an echo chamber telling you that you're fabulous, well, sometimes that can inflate your ego and your sense of like victimhood. And that's just not going to serve her either. So while I think it would be good for her to walk away, does that seem realistic? Probably not. And also, she's got to make money. I mean, she does have to support her family. And so, I do understand that. But either way, I don't care what she does. She's just got to do something different.
Yeah, God bless. Okay, let me see if there's anything else I want to chat with you about. We have to quickly chat about The Valley, because I'm obsessed. And I know I'm like one of the only people in the world that think it's a great show. I'm very concerned it's going to get canceled, because I really like it.
You should be at this point. You should be concerned, because it's bad. It's bad, Mary Kate. It's
Do you think it's bad because it's so dark?
Yes. Well, so you were on my podcast a couple weeks ago, and you had kind of turned my page about maybe it's not as dark as I think. And then we had the most recent episode where everyone was questioning Janet, and I was just like, it took the wind right out of my sails. It felt so dark and gross and inappropriate that I was just like, oh, this is bad. It's bad.
Well, I think, let me tell you what, if this show is canceled, Lacey's out of here. She's like, I'm only with you to be on this show. Yeah. Let me shoot again for the Real Housewives of OC. The reason I think it is so good is because they, especially with like Kristen and Luke, they do sort of come to a conflict resolution with her trying to explain to him, sort of what she's going through. And she does seem to be doing much better. But what was really sort of in the news this week was they showed clips all over the internet that's like about the after show, which I don't watch. And Danny saying he had been not watched porn in 6 years. And everybody's like, wow. It was as if he said, that he had been sober for 6 years or something. Now, he didn't say he had a porn addiction and that he had gotten himself clean from that. And that would be something else, that it would be like a sex addiction, and you should be proud of him. But he didn't say that. He just said, 6 years ago, he decided that he would no longer watch porn, and then sort of indicates he and Nia had made a tape that he would watch. And then, of course, Kristen, who's so far up Nia's ass for no reason we don't understand, she just really hitched herself to that wagon. Chris is like, Nia is just such a rock star. I mean, she's so amazing. I was like, that's what you got from that? Danny hasn't watched porn in 6 years, so Nia's a rock star? Like,
yeah, what? She made a sex tape for him, and maybe she didn't want to. That makes her a rock star.
Now she's amazing. Anyway, Danny just continues to give me every ick that has been known to man. Ick. I hate him. And of course, I've talked a million times about it. It's a personal trigger for me because of his behavior, because I am married to a recovering alcoholic. coming up on 12 years. And it doesn't matter if it was 12 years ago. I still remember. I still remember these behaviors of the hiding and the lying. And then I didn't do that. And then Nia's behavior reminds me a lot of myself, of the protecting and the shielding. Never in any history of time have I ever stood between my husband and somebody else that was trying to like confront him about his drinking. I'd be like, go ahead. Maybe you could talk some sense into him.
Right. You'd be like, please go ahead.
Yeah, please. I'll be over here.
Help me out.
Yeah. Help me out. So, I don't want it to get canceled. I want him to give it one more shot. Come on.
I mean, it's okay. Here's why I think it has crossed the line for me into super problematic is that you have a group of people who they're not really authentically friends. Clearly. I mean, these people hate each other.
Well, some of them are. Some of them are from back in the day. I mean, Janet has been around.
Of course.
Janet has been in that Kristen Vanderpump Rules with Shorts and everybody and Lala for years, as has Jasmine. They've all been around. And then Zach has always been around. Now, the Danny, Nia, Michelle, Jesse, Lacey, that is sort of a new addition to the group. Yeah. Right.
But that's what I mean is that Kristen and Luke and Danny and Nia and Jesse and Lacey are like aligning into this like superpower where they clearly just don't want Janet around and they're trying to. So for me, what it crossed the line into horribly dark when it's triggering viewers. That's my issue. When there's a Bravo show that's literally triggering viewers who either have been essayed and haven't been believed or who have seen, been in relationship issues with, who have been in relationships with people who have addiction issues and things like that. But I think when Danny was getting the group to question Janet's experience, for me, here's the thing. I'm not even the biggest Janet fan. I'm not saying I don't know her, right? We've never talked. I don't DM her, but I just refuse to accept that someone could share their experience and then a group of people on TV can be like, yeah, I think this is convenient. I mean, they basically were saying without saying, I think she's lying. And you know why this matters is because when I posted about it on my page, there were a ton of people who came into the comments who were like, Janet's lying. Don't worry, they got blocked because if you're going to do that, you don't belong on my page. We don't do that on my page. Because you can do that on other pages.
Janet's lying. That's a pretty specific story to make up. She's not lying. I mean, that obviously, it never occurred to me that she's lying. She obviously is telling from the heart something very traumatic that happened to her. And she's trying to explain to Lala, who hates Danny anyway, to be like, this is why I can't say sorry to him for using those specific words. The specific words are the issue that she said he sexually assaulted Jasmine. Now, in my opinion, as just a regular person walking in the world with no degrees in psychotherapy or any sort of medical field or police work, can tell you that if somebody grabs your ass, that is sexual assault. They have grabbed your body part. It would be no different if he honked your boob. Yes. Yeah. So he grabbed her ass. That is sexual assault. Those are the correct words. And I guess because they're trying to be like, we were all in a bar and it was a joking situation. Well, Melissa didn't like it, didn't ask for it. And she doesn't speak much, but Jasmine has tried to stick up for her fiance. And so for Janet to say, that's why I won't say, I'm sorry for using those words because I didn't know that that's what happened to me. I didn't know to use those words, but I've educated myself and I know that that was the correct word. So I'm 100% team Janet. And I appreciated that she explained it to Lala because Lala does come across holier than thou or narcissistic, but you can see Lala at the end of the day is a girl's girl and is listening to Janet and taking it in, probably in her mind, going through something that she probably has also experienced.
So many women have experienced this.
Yes.
Right. And that's what is making me wild is that a lot of the comments I'll get is, why are we still talking about this? And it's like, why are we still talking about someone being sexually assaulted? Are you asking that as a serious question? Like, the lack of humanity in the Bravo sphere sometimes is just, it will really knock my socks off. Because, and not only that, people are like, I've had to block, I've told you this multiple times, more people in the last couple months than in the last few years over Danny Bucco. There is something about these people, and Kristen and Luke have bought into that, whatever that means. And I think that Kristen's probably going to regret it, because it's like,
oh yeah,
how are you going to say that you wish people would have believed you, but now you're going to question Janet's timing? Kristen did that. I've seen both sides of the fandom about Kristen, but for me, I'm going to be honest, she completely lost me last episode. You cannot claim to be an advocate, an ally, a support for marginalized groups when you just don't like Janet and now are trying to weaponize and say she's lying. It's like, and people will parse through semantics about like, well, no one said lie. And it's like, okay, we understand what the intimation is, what Danny and Luke, whatever was trying to say. We're not idiots. We understand what that means. And for Kristen to hang her hat on that, and Lacey, by the way, Lacey has a podcast dedicated to survivors of domestic abuse.
Yeah.
And she is sitting there questioning it. And I'm like, what? Like, and that's the thing for me as a passionate supporter, as you can hear, of victims and survivors. I'm never going to question anyone's story. It's not our job. It's not my job. It's not the Bravo versus job to legitimize Janet or not. She doesn't need us to do that. Right. She's already legitimized because she told us her story. She doesn't need us to give it the stamp of approval. And that's what I think is so shitty about fans, is that, like, why are we so narcissistic to believe that we know more about her life than her? That's wacky. I'm sorry. That's wacky.
I think people just kind of got on the I hate Janet train. And so now they're on it. So no matter what, they're going to stay on it. They're going to stick with it. And I do think Kristen's going to regret. She could still not be a fan of Janet from whatever their past history is for the past 15 years. They could still not be friends. But in this situation, you don't need to hop on the I don't like Janet train. I don't know if she's telling the truth, because you're so up Danny and Nia's ass. Like, it's not going to turn out well for you. You know, Danny and Nia are not fan favorites like you thought they would be. You know,
and now Kristen and Luke are not fan favorites either because of how they've been behaving. And I just think, well, if it isn't the consequences of your actions, I have who would have ever thought that Lala would be saving the valley, number one, and number two would be the voice of reason. Because as you and I talked about, as a sober woman, she is clear-headed. She sees things for how they are. She knows what's going on in this group, and she has her finger on the pulse. In Lala, we trust.
Yeah,
I know that's wild.
I know
that's where we're at.
I love sober Lala, and you know, she was on Watch What Happens Live recently, and they asked her about the Sheena of it all, and like how she's just like not going to say why she and Sheena aren't friends. And I do know a little bit about that from some sources, air quotes. And I do think it would be kind of interesting if Sheena comes back, because I think Sheena was like, I got to take a break from these people. I'm just going to watch my husband, who also is problematic, you know, build things in my driveway for a season. But if the show comes back, and I think they're trying to breathe some life into it, I think they will bring Sheena back. And then if there's a Sheena and Lala, you know, problem, that is good, because they do have houses next door to each other. And and they were best ride or dies, and now they're not. And to get Danny and Nia out of here, we don't need the Santa Clarita 12 or how many kids they have. We don't need them all. You know?
I mean, you know, here's the crazy thing. Nia's been on this press tour now because she does her codependency dodgeball, where now she takes the hits for Danny. She, you know, she was on Fox News talking about the secret to a healthy marriage. And I was like, oh no.
What?
Oh no, she really was. She was on Fox News talking about the secrets to healthy marriage.
Did she reveal what it is? Is it? Because
You know, I couldn't bring myself to watch it, if I'm being
good.
honest.
Okay.
Not even for 1 second. I was like, whatever bullshit is about to spew out of this, I cannot listen to it.
Mm,
I just think that she's doing her pageant thing. She's masking, she's trying to put on this facade because, they thought that this was going to go another way.
yeah.
And the fans are seeing them for who they are. But there was one really interesting part where Danny, when he was going to get his vasectomy, and he was mad that Nia like had the nerve to work while he had to get this 7-minute elective procedure, which by the way, I've had biopsies and things without any sort of numbing at all. And so I would just like to note the privilege that Danny experienced getting all the health care. Let me just point that out. Okay. But Danny said, well, I like for my woman to take care of me. And he just made this face. And I took a screenshot of it on TV. I never did anything with it, but I was like, this is the smug look of a man who really just wants Nia to buy this. You're a second-class citizen in this house. Your body is feeding our children. It's keeping them alive. It brought them here. And now you also need to take care of me. And this is what our religion says is okay. So I just think it's very inequitable, and Danny seems to love that, which is, again, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag.
I do believe, though, the job she was going to was probably paying for his surgery. And because I do think she makes the most money. And also, if it was such a big deal, why didn't he just change the date to when she was back home?
That's right. Because it's elective. It's elective.
You could call.
So he could have done this whenever he wanted to do it. But I think he probably wanted to do it on film so that he could, complain and woe is me and poor me. But it's really going the opposite direction.
My husband had a vasectomy, came home, sat around with peas on the, frozen peas on the balls for a couple of days, watched some football, and went right back to work. It was fine, And he had a complication of some sort. I don't know what it was. I didn't care. I was like, sorry, I had 2 C-sections. What do you want me to do? I mean,
right.
Okay.
All the women who their bodies have been just ravaged and destroyed by, children. And then the men are like, oh, I had a minor day of pain. And it's like, sir, please, we can't.
You're fine.
We can't.
You're fine. I will say that all the men in my life, everybody has had a vasectomy, because the women are just like, oh, really? Okay, well then no more sex. It's just pretty easy. We're tired of being on birth control, so now it's your turn.
That's exactly right, and I love that for your family, Mary Payne. I love it. I just love every single bit about that.
I said to my husband, I go, the other option is I can go back under the knife and have my tubes tied. Now, would you like me to have a third surgery? He's like, no. I'm like, okay.
Right. You're like, good. That's the right answer.
The end. It was a long time ago. I will tell you guys, that when the whole thing about Danny saying about the porn and stuff, the conversation got started because you have to have 35 ejaculations after the vasectomy to get all the sperm out. And that's how the conversation started. But let me tell you something. My sister's husband, they had 3 sons. They were 4, 2, and 0. And her husband had a vasectomy. Guess what? She had another baby. No. It worked. He just didn't go back, because you go back for a follow-up to make sure you're shooting blanks. And he just didn't go back for the follow-up. And so he wasn't shooting blanks. And so anyway, she's almost 30 now, the daughter. Everything's fine. But she had 3 sons, and then they had a daughter because he didn't follow the instructions. So it's very important to follow those post-op instructions.
Extremely important. Yes.
Or you could end up with the 4th child, or in their case, a 5th.
So was he saying that he had to watch the pornography to do the 35 ejaculations?
No, because I think the guys were like, oh, that's what porn is for. That's kind of what it was. He was like, no, it was hard because I don't watch porn. I had to come up with things on my own, or bang my wife, or I don't know what I don't know. I was so disgusted with him. I was like, okay, nobody thinks you're a hero. Like, what,
it's just such a wild way to talk about your wife and women in general. Like, so, because I can't imagine that Nia would feel really excited that he would say that they made a tape together. She
Right.
doesn't seem like she would have signed off on that.
Right.
And I just think the way that he talks about sex is so juvenile and concerning that he just like doesn't get it at best. And at worst, well, I don't want to say. At worst, red flags. How about that?
Yeah. Got my red flag right here.
There you go. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So
red flags.
So many things in this office. Everybody, we are done. Thank you so much for chatting with me. We didn't get into Atlanta. I'm a little behind on it. I got to catch up over the weekend.
Yeah,
I'm a couple behind. We've got OC. We didn't talk about that. I know you're grateful.
I'm very grateful because I cannot stand OC. I mean, did you even? It was so boring this second episode, didn't you think?
Yeah, it's a little boring. It's a little boring.
It was a snooze fest. It's like, okay, I'm going to be honest. I saw a little bit when you were podcasting with Ace.
Yeah.
And Ace making fun of Shannon.
Yeah.
And I almost peed myself laughing because he's so correct that, like, I feel like she does this Lucille Ball shtick.
Yeah, it's stop. It's like Dorinda saying her own taglines, like stop.
Right. And to me, I just think it means OC has jumped the shark for me. But listen, we're only 2 episodes in. Right. I'm happy to come back and talk to it. If there's something more interesting other than Tamara's feelings were hurt, I just cannot do it. I can't with the Shannon's this shticky person. Vicky is still falling asleep at dinner. I mean, it's like, it's been 20 years, but nothing has changed. And that's kind of not what you want to see. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of people do think this is the swan song and they'll cancel it. And then in my thoughts, I'm like, well, maybe they'll cancel it. And then this is what they've told Heather Dubrow. Just stay one more season and then we'll let you go to Beverly Hills because that's all she wants. And they're like, give us season 20 and then we'll allow you to go over to Beverly Hills.
And I would like to see that because of the OC ladies, I think that Heather has the most to offer, like for other franchises. Oh my gosh. Also, here's one thing I wanted to tell you before we wrapped. Did you see that when Jen Pedranti had posted about her son starting the fire, she was actually in Cabo?
Oh, yeah.
She and Ryan were in Cabo. And I was like, oh, you're so concerned that your son set a ton of things on fire that almost burnt people's houses down, and you're just like casually vacationing in Cabo. Oh, girl, bye.
Well, I know, but then I have to say, like, they were probably already in Cabo, and then they got this information. They're like, well, shit. Now we have to put out a statement, but we're on a vacation. Cabo's not that far.
You come home from the vacation.
They should have come
home. You go
home. Yeah.
If you're if your children, because here's the thing that we see in the preview, Jen talks to one of her sons about how he's feeling about the divorce because he's acting out. Maybe you should do that instead of being in Cabo is what I'm saying, right? If your sons are acting out and they're doing things that they're not accustomed to doing, well, they may be crying out for some help and just need some one-on-one time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I'm always like, they probably got a free vacation or something. They were already there, but they should have come home. They should have come home. Yeah.
But anyway, TBD on OC, but yeah, it's not looking promising to me at all.
I'll always watch it. I did like somebody pointed out that there's not any way in any world that Shannon Bedore would be friends with this Carmela girl. There's no way in any way, shape, or form she would ever be friends with her. But she's like, my friend Carmela. We're like, you're not friends with this girl.
That's what makes me crazy about Housewives. It's like, are we still pretending that this person wasn't cast? Are we really still trying?
She lives in San Diego.
Right. It's like, and doesn't Carmela, an ex-Playboy who's lived an interesting life, seem like a Shannon Bedore friend? No. I mean, come on. Come on. But the one thing I can't wait to see is how she gets under Vicky's skin, because it's just it is fun to watch Vicky like freak out. Because she's just like, she's so judgy, and she has to die with like the OG of the OC on her tombstone. Like that is her defining characteristic. And I just feel like that's so sad. You're a beautiful woman with lots to offer. This is your defining. I don't know. I've said too much. I'm sorry. I keep rambling.
Last thing, you saw the Roni trailer.
Yes.
Looks good.
It does look good.
It looks
really
good. And
does.
I'm happy that they brought up about Carol being in the Epstein files. I mean, we know why she's in the Epstein files, blah, blah, blah. We don't have to debate that. But I did like that Carol was like, I'm excited about the summer, even though like I passed I have a shirt that says Carol's Last Good Summer. That's from Bitch Sesh. It was some of their merch. So like,
that's great.
I like that Carol's back because she's closer to these women's age. And has Sai always had a tattoo behind her ear?
I asked myself that question too. I'm like, either I'm not observant or she just got that. I think that's new.
That would be an interesting choice.
Yeah. But Sai's very like, she's kind of tough. She's kind of tough. She's a little bold. I could see her making, the fun choices like that. I mean, I don't find that fun, but I could understand how that seems fun. So yeah,
I don't find a tattoo behind there fun. I don't either. I don't like it.
No, to me that would hurt so bad.
Who else has one? Brittany has one, and also Dolores's Paulie. He also has one.
Paulie, really? Listen, I have 2 tattoos. I'm not opposed to them, but I just feel like behind the ear, there's not a lot of tissue. It's just your bone. That seems like it would. Oh God, that would give me a headache. I can't. But
I'm not a fan. Well, I have lots of tattoos. I don't care about tattoos. I just don't like one behind the ear. That's my personal opinion.
That's my opinion.
Tell everybody where they can follow you and your podcast and all of your very, very insightful posts about what's happening on our Bravo.
Well, thank you. You can find me at Your Bish Therapist on Instagram, which I'm not going to lie, I've taken a couple days hiatus because people were really yelling at me on the internet. And I'm going to be honest, I needed to check people and be like, I do this for free. Okay. This takes a lot of time and I do it for free and I don't make money from it. So I'm taking a little break for a couple days, seeing if that helps people chill out and come correct next time.
Okay.
TBD. And you can also find me at Your Bish Therapist, a podcast. It is free and available everywhere. However, if you like to watch video, I'm on Spotify Video. I'm on YouTube. And of course, Patreon, www.patreon.com/YourBish Therapist.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for having me, Mary Payne.
And you guys, it comes from Joe Giudice saying Teresa Giudice was my bitch wife.
Yes.
So that's where it comes from.
I messaged Amy about, she had like a question about Lexapro and I was like, hi, this is your bitch therapist. And then I was born from there. And then, it's technically Bish because you don't want to have a curse in your name. That inhibits you in a little ways, but
You're
I love it. It works
B-I-S-H.
for me, and I am a little bishy. So,
okay. Thank you. See you next time.